Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Donald Trump's administration picks targeted with bomb threats and swatting. Thanksgiving travel period off to a record start in the US. Four killed and flights cancelled as heavy snowfall blankets Seoul. And in sports, Liverpool defeat Real Madrid 2-0 to top the Champions League. President-elect Donald Trump's incoming cabinet members and other political appointees have been targeted with bomb threats. Spokesperson for the U.S. President-elect, Caroline Leavitt, said in a statement that the threats were made on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and law enforcement acted quickly to ensure safety of those targeted. Elise Stefanik, a U.S. representative from New York and Trump's pick to serve as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, said in a statement on Wednesday that her family home had been the target of a bomb threat. Later on Wednesday, Lee Zeldin, a former U.S. representative from New York and Trump's choice to head the Environmental Protection Agency, said that he and his family had been targeted. An FBI spokesperson said that the Bureau is aware of numerous bomb threats and swatting incidents targeting incoming administrating nominees and appointees and is working with its law enforcement partners. The White House said that outgoing President Joe Biden has been briefed on the threats. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said on Wednesday that Mexico's leader had agreed to stop migration during a conversation between the pair, effectively closing the border between their countries. Earlier, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said that she had an excellent conversation with Donald Trump. Writing on social media, she said that both the sides addressed Mexico's strategy regarding the migration phenomena, and she shared that caravans are no longer reaching the northern border as they are being addressed within Mexico. The update from the Mexican president comes after Trump jolted trade relations with Mexico by saying earlier this week that he would impose a 25% tariff on all goods from the country unless Mexican authorities stopped migrants and drugs such as fentanyl from coming across the border. The move raised concerns over the potential impact on Mexico's economy, which relies on trade with the U.S. Let's get you updates on the West Asia conflict. Now, thousands of Lebanese displaced by the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah returned home on Wednesday as the ceasefire took hold, driving cars stacked with personal belongings and defying warnings from Lebanese and Israeli troops to stay away from some areas. The truce in Lebanon could give reprieve to the 1.2 million Lebanese displaced by the conflict and the tens of thousands of Israelis who fled their homes along the border. The Israeli army has meanwhile announced restrictions on Wednesday on people's movement in South Lebanon after dark. Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari advised Lebanese civilians to stay away from the areas where the Israeli forces are stationed.
Residents of Lebanon, as you have seen throughout the war, we do what we say. For your protection, we ask you to stay away from the area where our forces are. The ceasefire agreement is phased, and we will let you know when it is safe to return to the area.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres termed the truce between Israel and Hezbollah as the first ray of hope in the regional conflict after months of escalation. Talking to media in Portugal, the UN chief said that it is essential that those who signed the ceasefire commitment respect it in full. He also reiterated his call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
I would say the first ray of hope regarding the peace I received amidst the darkness of the last few months. I received it in Portugal, and it was the agreement to ceasefire in relation to Lebanon, and a moment of great importance, especially for civilians. And at the same time, I can assure you that UNIFIL, the United Nations Peacekeeping Force, which has been in Lebanon, is currently prepared to make its contribution to verifying this ceasefire with full commitment.
Israel will appeal against the International Criminal Court's arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Israel's Prime Minister's office in a statement said it had informed the ICC of its intention to appeal to the court along with a demand to delay implementation of the arrest warrants. The ICC issued arrest warrants last Thursday for Netanyahu, his former defense chief and Hamas military leader Ibrahim al-Masri for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Gaza conflict. ICC spokesperson Fadi Al-Abdallah meanwhile told journalists that if requests for an appeal were submitted, it would be up to the judges to decide. The court's rules allow for the UN Security Council to adopt a resolution that would pause or defer an investigation or a prosecution for a year, with the possibility of renewing that annually. US President Joe Biden's administration has arranged a $725 million weapons package for Ukraine before leaving office in January. Additionally, Ukrainian Defense Minister also discussed joint steps to strengthen security and stability with South Korean President. On the other hand, President-elect Donald Trump has elected Keith Kellogg to serve as a special envoy for the Ukraine conflict. We get you more details in this report ahead.
US President Joe Biden's administration is preparing for a $725 million weapons package for Ukraine as he seeks to bolster the government in Kiev before leaving office in January. According to Reuters, which quoted official sources, Biden administration plans to provide a variety of anti-tank weapons from US stocks to blunt Russia's advancing troops, including landmines, drones, Stinger missiles, and ammunition for HIMARS. The package is also expected to include cluster munitions. The president-elect Donald Trump, on the other hand, is swiftly moving to make his intentions clear ahead of taking charge. Trump has tapped Keith Kellogg to serve as a special envoy for the conflict. Kellogg is a retired lieutenant general and has presented Trump with a plan to end the conflict in Ukraine. Kellogg was the chief of staff for the White House National Security Council during Trump's 2017 to 2021 term and national security advisor to then Vice President Mike Pence. Currently, there is no special envoy for the war in Ukraine. Trump had privately expressed interest in creating the position. Russia had accused the outgoing Biden administration of trying through its increased support to Ukraine to create a mess in Russia and with the new team in the White House.
The likelihood of who's coming to power is something which Zelensky tried very hard to ignore. He even violated diplomatic niceties. And even if we are to lay to one side the prediction that Donald Trump will cut assistance to Ukraine, which for the Ukrainian army would essentially be a death sentence, it is becoming clearer that he and his team will in any case conduct an audit of the assistance provided to Kiev. And the outgoing American administration is actively egging it on in doing this, and it's trying as much as it can to make a mess both in Russia and with the new team in the White House.
Elsewhere, Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov discussed joint steps to strengthen security and stability with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol in Seoul on Wednesday. Ukraine has asked Seoul in the past for a range of weapons, and Seoul has said it would consider such aid, depending on what Russia and North Korea do. Nordic and Baltic states and Poland said on Wednesday they would in the coming months set up support for Ukraine and invest in making more ammunition available. Bureau Report, DT India.
The 3 U.S. citizens released by China arrived in Joint Base San Antonio, Texas on Wednesday, just hours before Thanksgiving. The White House said on Wednesday that China has released U.S. citizens Mark Swidan, Kai Li and Jean Leung, concluding the years of diplomacy over Americans that Washington says were wrongfully detained in China. Swidan has been facing a death sentence on drug charges, while Li and Leong were imprisoned on espionage charges. The Americans were released in exchange for unidentified Chinese nationals and are now in the U.S. custody. On Wednesday, the U.S. also lowered its travel advisory level to level 2, exercise increased caution for mainland China. Politico first reported the release of the Americans. Their release takes place fewer than 2 months before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. It follows years of quiet diplomatic efforts by the Biden administration, with President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Jake Sullivan and other U.S. officials engaging with their counterparts in the matter. Let's get you some weather updates now. Heavy snowfall blanketed South Korea for a second consecutive day on Thursday, resulting in 4 deaths overall and disrupting flights and ferry services. The second day of snow came after Seoul on Wednesday recorded its heaviest November snowfall since records began over a century ago. The record snowfall also marked the capital's first snow of the season. Up to 40 centimeters of snow accumulated in parts of the capital by 11 a.m. local time on Thursday, while other areas outside Seoul saw snow piles reaching nearly 45 centimeters. The prolonged snowfall led to cancellation of 156 flights and disrupted 104 ferry services across 79 outlets. Also, some trains were delayed due to heavy snowfall. The second day of snow prompted the city government to deploy 11,000 personnel and 20,000 pieces of equipment for snow removal operations in the capital. At least 2 people were killed and around a dozen others were injured on Wednesday evening in a 53-vehicle pileup on a highway in Gangwon province. 2 other deaths were also reported in weather-related incidents. While the heavy snow advisory was lifted in Seoul, it remained in effect in many southern regions outside the capital, with some areas still experiencing snowfall. The unusually heavy November snow has been attributed to the warmer than usual temperatures of sea waters west of the Korean peninsula, encountering currents of cold air. Parts of Sri Lanka continue to face severe weather conditions due to the deep depression in the southwest Bay of Bengal. As per Met Department in Sri Lanka, the depression was located 110 kilometers northeast of Trincomalee at around 5:30 a.m. local time today. The death toll due to adverse weather has risen to 12 in the island nation, while 2 are reported missing. The Disaster Management Center reports that over 330,000 people across 23 districts have been severely affected. It is expected to move slowly north-northwestward, closer to Sri Lanka's east coast and later intensify into a cyclonic storm. Over 27,000 individuals have taken refuge in 267 safety shelters, while over 61,000 have been relocated. The landslide warnings have also been issued to 9 districts by National Building Research Organization till 7 p.m. local time. Also, relief efforts are underway with 2,700 personnel from the Tri-Forces deployed to assist the affected communities. While deep depression is expected to reach near India's north Tamil Nadu Puducherry coasts, Met Department said that light to moderate rainfall at a few places accompanied with isolated thunderstorm and lightning is very likely over coastal Tamil Nadu and Puducherry and also coastal Andhra Pradesh today. Heavy to very heavy rainfall at isolated places over coastal Andhra Pradesh and Yanam are expected from today till Saturday. Meanwhile, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin chaired a high-level meeting to review preparedness, deploying National Disaster Response Force and state teams to vulnerable districts. Relief camps, medical teams and 24/7 emergency operation centers have been set up to tackle the situation. Fishermen have been advised to avoid the sea, while Chennai faces traffic snarls and minor disruptions due to waterlogging. A holiday has been declared for all schools and colleges in Puducherry and Karaikal on Thursday due to heavy rains. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, 3-day India-Singapore bilateral exercise Agni Warrior 2024 commences in Maharashtra from Thursday, aiming to enhance professional military interactions. Stay with us to see what's lined up for International Film Festival of India 2024 closing ceremony today. Marking its 20th Christmas anniversary, Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen enthralls locals as a Nordic-inspired winter wonderland.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get to updates on Parliament proceedings now. Both houses of the Parliament were adjourned for the day amid protests by the opposition members over various issues. To get us more on that, Vishal Baristo is joining us. Vishal, we tell our viewers that both the houses of Parliament were adjourned. Get us the gist of the brief houses that were conducted today. Vishal, get us the details of...
Yes, both houses have been adjourned once again.
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. Priti, very good afternoon to you. Both houses have been adjourned. Both the lower house and the upper house have been adjourned. It's ruckus created by the opposition. The opposition is hell-bent on discussions on various issues. First is the alleged financial irregularities against the Indian tycoon Gautam Adani. The second one is the violence in Sambalpur in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and also the repeated violence in the northeastern state of Manipur. 16 notices were given to the chair in the upper house under Rule 267, and the opposition were demanding discussion on these important matters, to which the chair did not agree. In the lower house, the ruckus continued. Meanwhile, amidst the ruckus, the extension of the much debated Waqf Board bill has been introduced. The motion has been introduced for the extension of the tenure of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on the Waqf Board. But before the discussion could move on, the ruckus again was created by the opposition, and so the lower house was also adjourned. Let me inform our viewers that the much debated Waqf Board bill, the Joint Parliamentary Committee headed by Jagdampika Pal, the MP of Bharatiya Janata Party, was supposed to present its report on the last working day of the first week of Parliament, that means tomorrow Friday. But because of the demands of the opposition parties that there are many issues and many states that need to be covered, especially the state of West Bengal, that the tenure of the committee should be extended, and today it has been finally approved accepted by the Lok Sabha, and earlier the opposition had also met the speaker for this demand. So as of now, no business could be transacted for one more day, and it seems that the whole week would be washed out as far as the first week is concerned, because the opposition is not relenting. Meanwhile, earlier, the two members were sworn in, and all eyes were set on Priyanka Gandhi. Another member of the Gandhi family was sworn in as the Member of Parliament today. Priyanka Gandhi, accompanied by her family, her husband, her children, her brother Rahul Gandhi, and Sonia Gandhi. She also was sworn in from Wayanad on Congress party's ticket. So it's been quite a day of repeated disruption created by the opposition in both houses of the Parliament.
All right, yes, it is a day of repeated adjournments, but then Vishal, very quickly, for the benefit of our viewers, just tell us what was supposed to be taken up as the legislative business today. What is it that both the houses of the Parliament had to lose because of this unrelenting and unadjusting, nature of the opposition?
Well, two important bills, they were supposed to be there for discussion. One is the banking bill, which allows at least 4 nominees for the fixed deposit, and this was a huge. This would have been a huge relief for the common man. The other was the Vayuyan Videk, which is the Aircraft Act of 1935. And this bill is aimed at providing better guidelines for better framework of the aviation industry's administration. So both these important bills could not come up for discussion, and another was the railway amendment bill, which also could not come up for discussion. So another day wasted. Both houses, they assembled at the appointed time of 11 a.m. But there were two disruptions. Immediately in Lok Sabha, there was a disruption. The Lok Sabha was adjourned for 12 noon. And also there was this disruption in the upper house. And eventually both houses stand adjourned by 11 a.m. tomorrow.
All right, Vishal, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. The India-Singapore bilateral military exercise Agni Warrior 2024 begins today in Maharashtra. The primary objective of the three-day exercise is to enhance professional military interactions between the artillery units of both the sides by sharing best practices. Another interesting component that the exercise will see is providing a platform for cultural exchanges, thereby strengthening the bond between the two nations. With 2025 set to mark 60 years of diplomatic relations between India and Singapore, both ministers had agreed to further step up defence cooperation and achieve new milestones. They also consented to extend the bilateral agreement on the joint military training army for an additional 5 years. The International Film Festival of India 2024 IFFI concludes today, bringing the 9-day celebration of cinematic excellence to an end for this year. It started with a bang and was filled with memorable film premieres and panel discussions. Numerous celebrities from Bollywood and Hollywood made their presence felt. And if you feel that the starry presence at IFFI this year is over, you are mistaken, as the closing ceremony today will also be a star-studded affair. In all, IFFI has been a platform for fostering deeper understanding and appreciation of films. It provided a single platform for ambitious filmmakers, cinestars and industry professionals to have access to excellent cinema from across the world. On to sports now. Liverpool regained top spot in the Champions League table and registered a first victory over Real Madrid in 15 years with a dominant 2-0 win courtesy of goals from Alexis Mac Allister and Cody Gakpo. It was a miserable night for the Spaniards, who now are 24th in the 36-team competition. Kylian Mbappe was well shackled and also missed a penalty that would have drawn Real level against the run of play in the second half. The result continued boss Arne Slot's scintillating start at Liverpool, who, as well as their 100% Champions League record, also sit top of the Premier League by 8 points. Liverpool had not beaten Real Madrid since 2009, failing to win any of the previous 8 matches, including 2 painful Champions League final defeats. It is that time of the year. Planes, trains and automobiles are all running in top gear as millions of Americans embark on their journeys home for Thanksgiving. Customs of the day include Thanksgiving Day parades, especially the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, donating essentials to those in need, and the presidential turkey pardons. We have more in this report.
Thanksgiving is a day dedicated to giving thanks for the blessings and harvests of the past year. Holiday travel is in full swing across the US as millions boarded flights, piled into cars, or caught trains to reach home before Thanksgiving, making it the busiest travel season in the country.
It's been really smooth, actually. Traffic was wonderful. We got here on perfect time. The airport's been relatively fast, and it even looks like security is pretty moving quickly. So we're actually really happy with how travel is going today.
About 2.7 million passengers were screened at airport security checkpoints Tuesday, the highest ever before Thanksgiving and beating last year's record. A record 80 million Americans are expected to travel at least 50 miles for Thanksgiving.
Incredibly smooth, airports, both front end, back end, great. Service was great. Honestly, I was surprised. I thought it would be, really crowded, long delays, but thank God it was all very smooth and seamless.
Thanksgiving is a sort of a family reunion.
It's just important. I really feel like Thanksgiving is such a beautiful holiday, and so many people, have the privilege of being able to celebrate it with their friends and family and have a great meal on the table.
What a lot of people don't say is that when you are giving, you get so much more back. It's almost a selfish act to try to help people, because it really is a wonderful thing to be around those that care about human beings.
But not everyone can travel back. Some can't be home due to work exigencies, and some just can't find a way back home, like the astronauts at the International Space Station.
Greetings from the International Space Station. Our crew up here just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to all our friends and family who are down on Earth and everyone who is supporting us.
Thanksgiving is typically a holiday where family and friends get together. Sometimes that can't happen to physically be around each other, but today's age, you can virtually tie in to your family and friends.
And one of those big traditions is having a Thanksgiving meal together. And so we're going to celebrate that tradition up here.
Another highlight of the day is the tradition that draws spectators from around the world, the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York. Dozens of giant balloons and iconic floats with stunning performances are a part of the magic of every New Year's Eve, and this year marks the parade's 98th year. This year's parade will feature 17 giant character balloons, 15 novelty and heritage inflatables, 11 marching bands, 700 clowns, and 10 performance groups. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live. But before we also go, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audience. If you want great content for free, then download Waves today. On that reminder, we end this edition of DD India Live. Bye-bye.